Dear viewers, thank you so much for watching. My name is Veronica Rose. You are most welcome to the Experts Corner. And the main purpose of this channel is to let knowledge go viral. So, our special guest today is an information systems auditor like me, and I'm happy to host her. She is going to let us know more about herself. Van, go ahead.
Uh, Good day to everyone. Veronica, thank you for this opportunity that I can join you in this session. Um, I must say I'm very passionate about the topic that we will be discussing.
Yeah.
I worked in IT as a developer for about 27 years. It's now 3 years that I've been working as an IT auditor, and
Mhm.
that I'm more on the assurance side. And I must say I'm really enjoying this.
Thank you. I'm happy to host you. And our topic of discussion today is on secure by design. Secure by design in software engineering means that the product has been designed already from foundation to be secure. So we would like to hear from you, Van. Take us through the process or the approach, security by design approach in software development.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. I think the first thing that we must maybe do is determine what is the secure software development. Um, it is not adding encryption, authentication, or other security features to the software.
Mhm.
These features might increase the usability, but that is not secure development.
Yeah.
When I ask application staff, that is now your analysts, the developers, the testers, the DBAs, if when I ask them if they consider the secure development lifecycle,
Mhm.
then they mostly answer in terms of role-based access or limitations in your menu items. So they're thinking of security features.
Yes.
They're not thinking of the security by design. So the secure software development lifecycle is a collection of best practices that focus on adding security to your standard software development lifecycle. So it is not something new that you need to adopt. It's something that you add on.
Yeah.
The purpose of this is to reduce the number of security bugs or the vulnerabilities that is being introduced.
Mm.
Um, and you actually want the secure software to do what it's designed to do, and exactly just that. Um, so the way that you go about this is you have a dedicated effort at each phase of your software development lifecycle. Now, people are using different life cycles. Some are using the waterfall approach, some are using agile, some are using development ops.
Yeah.
So, all that you do is you have new phases or new items added to this already existing phases that you have
Yeah.
from the deployment to your maintenance phase.
Mhm.
But the most important is the mind shift of your development team to focus on the security. Mostly when you're speaking to developers or your development team, their
Yeah.
focus is on functionality. You know, you need to do what the users want, you need to keep the user happy.
Yeah.
And then security is sometimes an afterthought when you're done and
Yeah.
you're ready to move it to production. Then they remember maybe we should have looked at the security. So now, with a dedicated effort in each phase throughout your development life cycle, you can introduce a security before it comes to deployment.
Yeah.
There is also cost reduction. It is cheaper to fix a security bug while you're still in development than after it has been deployed and moved to production.
Sure.
That is where it's more expensive. Um, so, what is nice about this, you don't need to adopt a new methodology,
Yeah.
um, but you include the security processes and programming practices in each step.
Mhm.
Now, what is interesting is there's a link between security and quality.
Uh-huh.
Now, quality is the absence of defects, but that's not the same as security, but they are related.
Yes.
So you can have a high quality product without security, that is not secure. Let me rather put it like that. That is where you have vulnerabilities. But the opposite is true. If you have a poor quality piece of software, it is not going to be secure. You can also have a secure product with security, where security has been included, but it's of poor quality. Then it behaves unexpected and improper. I mean, for instance, You put a character in a numeric field on an input screen, and then it just goes haywire. So that is where you have poor quality, but it could have been secure. Um, what you actually need to do, if we now start looking at how you get this then done, um, you need to have a good understanding of your security principles. And this is commonly known by most, I would say, like IT auditors or people in the cybersecurity space, your confidentiality, integrity, availability, authentication, authorization, session management. Um, Veracode Secure Development actually did a survey with developers and asked them, what is your biggest concern? And interestingly enough, the developers indicated that their biggest concern is on the exposure of sensitive data. So that is part of your confidentiality. Their second biggest concern was on session management and broken authentication. So but those are just two of the items. There's a lot of items to look in to include. Um, you also have security by design principles. I mean, as an information systems auditor, you should also be aware of this, where you implement least privileges. You only have access to what you need to be able to do your work. Defense in depth, that even with development, the first level is, for instance, your user access logging. And from there on, you build on the depth of your defense. Another interesting one is fail to a secure state. So when you have a secure solution, if it fails or terminates unexpectedly, it should not by default, say for instance, grant access to everyone. It should fail to something that is secure. Two other items that is very important is the weakest link. So throughout your development, you must understand the weaknesses of your system and
Sure.
be able to identify them.
Mm.
You must also identify the point of failures,
Yes.
that you are aware of the point of failures and that you should get rid of any single point of failure. So there shouldn't be one single point where the system can fail.
Yeah.
Um, so the thing is now, how do you achieve this? So
Yes.
that is now the next thing. This was now a lot of talk, but how do you achieve this? Now, the
Mm.
most important thing actually to start off with is your team awareness and education.
Yes.
So you take your development team that includes your analysts and your testers and whoever else is involved, and it obviously includes your security team as well.
Sure.
And they need to get appropriate training, that they have a basic security knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also advanced topics. I mean, as you know, this is a changing environment. Every day there's new threats coming out, there's new vulnerabilities identified, there's new things happening.
Yeah.
So there must be constant training and exposure to the emerging threats that are out there, and also tools and techniques that can be used. So the bottom line is, you need to make sure that your team members have the correct knowledge before they actually start with this project. So as we said in the beginning, it's a mindset change that they need to get themselves. Another one that is very interesting is the implementation of security gates. That is basically like a security review. And a gate is something that you pass through. You need to meet a certain condition, and then you can pass through. So at the completion of each phase in your methodology and in your project as you are progressing,
Mm.
um, you review the security requirements,
Yeah.
and only if they've been met can you proceed to the next one. So that also assists with your making sure that the security is properly included in your development. Um, there's tools that actually you can use for your security gates. The one is on your bug tracking. Now, bug tracking is not something new for development, and security bugs, you track them the same way. You need to make sure what they are, the impact, the severity, the prioritization, all of that. Then also threat modeling, that throughout your project and your development, from the requirements gathering up to the end, you need to identify the threats to the system under development, and also how you're going to mitigate it. And as you are progressing, you review this. And everybody in your team needs to be aware of this. And then there's also some software that you can actually use, which is called Fuzzing. Now, interestingly enough, the hackers also use this. So it is time that the good people also use what the hackers are using. Because this is like an automated technique whereby you take a program and you just randomly throw input at it. So it's unstructured. You just try anything and see what happens. So this is also the type of thing that we can look at. The last item, so we now had your team awareness and education. We had the security gates, and then the last item is where your audit comes involved. Because in this whole process, you already have your security team involved. So now your audit can come and they can verify that this process that has been followed, this whole methodology with your security gates and everything that you are doing, that this is actually working as intended, which is important. So for me, the best starting point would be to make sure that your development team has the proper knowledge and understanding. That is what I see greatly missing currently in the environment.
True.
You add the security aspects to the already existing methodology and the phases that you are using. And then there's a document. I actually have it here, which is very useful. I assume you can see it here, the OWASP code review guide.
Yeah.
For me, this is a stunning document.
Mm.
It's I downloaded it free from the internet,
Yeah.
and it gives you specific coding advice. So this is now for the developers sitting there and actually do the coding
Oh, yeah.
on how to make sure that your coding is actually um, it is not open to SQL injection, for instance.
True.
So all those aspects are also included in there. So this is also for me a nice step just to include, just for the developers specifically.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Van. I'm sure software developers, auditors as well, they have really learned a lot from you. And to auditors, I encourage you be involved in these processes because at the end of the day, you will have to come and review if the controls have been implemented the way they should be. So be involved in the processes and ensure, give assurance to existence of these controls as well. So thank you so much, Van, for joining me today. And I would like you to share with us where our viewers can find you.
Okay, the people can find me. I'm on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Marilize van Schalkwyk. You can just search for me there and you will find me there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Veronica.
All
It
right.
was my pleasure.
Welcome. Yeah. So to our viewers, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on more of the upcoming sessions. Let us make knowledge go viral. Thank you for watching.